Hey, pretty sketchy friends, and Happy New Year to you. Happy 2024. I have just completed my first ever 30-day challenge, which I'm actually quite proud of myself. I've never, ever been able to do any of these kind of draw every day kind of challenges, you know, like Inktober. Well, I've never even tried that one, to be honest. 100 people in 1 week, you know, all of these drawing challenges that float around. I've just rubbish at them, just can't do them. But I set this one, so I didn't have an excuse. So this was my challenge that I ran with my private art club, Pretty Sketchy Club. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description below. But yeah, so I had no real excuse to ditch out of this one. I couldn't fail. It was really, really cool though. The members in my art club kept me accountable just because I felt like I couldn't just not post the pictures and do the drawing challenge myself. So in week 1, we focused on face-on portraits. Week 2, we focused on side profile and 3/4 portraits. And week 3, what did we do? We did expressions. And then in week 4, we just went freestyle. So I had like a whole collection of different types of faces and allowed everyone to do a different style or technique. But I did give prompts for what I was going to do. So use a brush pen or only use spot colors or that kind of thing. So I'd just like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I am sure that most of you have heard of Skillshare by now. But if not, they are one of the largest online learning community for creatives. And there are thousands of classes as well, led by industry professionals. And yeah, they've got a vast array of different videos and classes that you can watch in all kinds of different creative niches. But the thing that I'm really enjoying at the moment is actually the learning paths. They kind of like curate different classes into a learning path for you. So, you know, there's 5 classes in this one about Notion, which by the way, I love. You know, interested in becoming a surface pattern designer? Then they've collected these 8 classes together so that you've got a clear path to follow to start from the beginning and build on your different skills and that kind of thing. So the learning path that I'm really interested in at the moment is this one about Procreate, because I do have an iPad, I do have Procreate, I do use it quite a lot, but not really for urban sketching or travel sketching, more for like tattoo designs and stuff like that. But I feel like you can never stop learning. So I'm gonna, you know, start from the start, even though I might know how to use the application. I think it's always useful to start from the beginning sometimes, because there's things that you might have missed when you learnt things the first time round. So if you're interested in trying out Skillshare, which I do highly recommend, it's a great price for so many courses and classes on so many different creative activities, and also, as I mentioned, these learning paths. So for the first 500 people to use my link in the description below, you will get 1 month free of Skillshare. So I hope you enjoy. You can get a lot done in a month, because that's exactly what we're talking about right now, drawing challenges for 30 days. Some things that I got out of the challenge. Well, firstly, why did I do the challenge? So I really suck at drawing faces. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I actually suck at drawing faces, and I'm really scared of drawing faces. So actually, in a lot of my people sketching, some of you may have even noticed this, but I doubt it because I don't do a vast amount of people sketching, but that is something I want to change for 2024. I say this every year, FYI. But yeah, a lot of the time I actually just leave faces blank because, you know, with urban sketching and travel sketching, you're drawing people and usually drawing people in a scene. So the faces are really, really small in the type of drawing that I'm doing. So it's really hard to kind of capture a face in that kind of size. That's one of my excuses, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, I just wanted to do this so I felt more confident in just drawing a face, mainly in line. This is not academic portrait drawing in charcoal or whatever. This is for the purposes of getting better at drawing people and faces for urban sketching and travel sketching. That's kind of like always my overarching aim, is trying to improve those skills. So that was kind of the story behind the challenge. Make myself feel more confident at just drawing a recognizable face that's in proportion. Even the recognizability isn't so important, but like some kind of proportional face that looks like a human and not like a melted human. So that was the purpose. So yeah, what did I get out of this challenge? Honestly, it's maybe boring and cliche, but doing something every single day, or even if it's every other day, whatever, doing something consistently really does help. But what I will say is my progress wasn't linear. So my progress didn't go like this. My progress was more up and down. So some days I would do a really good face and I'd be like, oh my God, I've nailed it. I can draw faces. And then the next day I would do like one of the worst ones I've done of the whole challenge. So I guess my point is that, your progress might not just be like you'll get better and better every single day, but you might do one really good one, then one really bad one, then a much better one, and then a bad one again. And then you might do 3 in a row that are really good, and then you might do a bad one again. So it's kind of trending upwards, but it's like up and down along that kind of diagonal, if that makes sense. So that's something that I definitely got from this challenge. And just confidence to put things where they're supposed to be. So I did actually start off with everyone doing guidelines, which I actually learned from one of the very first Domestika courses I ever bought, which is Watercolor Portrait Sketchbook. The teacher's name is Carlos, I think. I'll put it on the screen here. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. Really great course. I'll put the link in the description below. And I haven't even watched it for such a long time, but the guidelines that he taught in that particular course have really stuck with me to the point where I didn't even need to refer back to what he showed. It's just the way that I now approach drawing faces, because it's nice and simple. It's not too over the top. Some of the guidelines and grids and whatnot are like it's too much, and I just don't have the patience for it. I just want something quick and easy. So that really helped, and I sort of shared that with the people in my club. And so that's how I always started, and I didn't mind about like having those guidelines down and them even showing through. So you'll see that in the maybe the time lapses that you're seeing on screen. So that was something that really stuck with me. Again, I was just trying to keep the purpose in mind. The purpose for me was to draw a face that was proportional and recognizable to the reference that I was drawing from. I wasn't trying to do any academic like drawing. I just wanted to keep it simple so that it would assist with me improving my urban and travel sketching skills. That was the purpose. That was what I was keeping my mind on. So I wasn't going too crazy, especially I think maybe in the first 3 weeks, I just did line drawings. Some of my club members went further, but I just did line drawings because that's what I just wanted to be able to nail a face in line quickly and simply. That was my purpose. I went a bit more mad in week 4, which was really fun. Another thing that I found was that the medium really mattered to me. So I was much more comfortable drawing a face with a particular pencil or pen than I was in another pencil or pen, for example. So a very fine pencil I didn't like, but my Pitt oil-based pencil, black pencil, really enjoyed drawing with that. And the same with certain pens. And I'm sure that will vary, depending on the person. And I also found then towards week 4, when I did allow myself to use watercolor, that was like the most fun. It was just fun to experiment more with color and just get a bit more experimental and stylistic with it all. Capturing character is another thing. So you might not nail the proportions or whatever, but you get the kind of overall character. And there were some really cool photo references in this challenge, if I do say so myself. I didn't take them. They are all collected on my Pinterest board. Again, I will leave the link in the description below if you want to have a look. It's more than the 30 that we did, so there's loads and loads. Pinterest, such a great place for finding photos, portrait photos. Now I have evaluated my work. Each time I did a face, I was like, okay, what's not working on this? A lot of the time I'd realize that I was drawing eyes too big. So I feel like that is something I have addressed now. And the other thing that I haven't addressed yet, because I did it just yesterday, is I'm drawing faces too long. So that's something that I've realized that is now an issue. And you can only pick that up if you keep doing something over and over again. and you've got a body of work to then look back over and be like, oh yeah, I always draw faces too long and I always draw eyes too big, because I can see that pattern now because I've drawn so many faces. So that's another really good reason to do this challenge. You know, another thing to keep in mind is to keep practicing even after these kinds of challenges are over. So I've done a few more faces since the challenge. And again, yeah, picking up on that, I'm drawing them too long. But it really, you know, it seems like quite a challenge to do these kind of things. I don't think I could do too many of them, but I really committed to this one because it's something that I really wanted to do, was to improve my face drawing skills. So if you guys are interested in coming to do that 30-day challenge, it doesn't matter that we're not doing it live anymore, but you can take the challenge at any time. Just come and join us over at Pretty Sketchy Club. There's actually a 14-day free trial, so you can do half the challenge for free. But yeah, come and join us. If not, the Pinterest board is below, so you can just pick a bunch out and do your own 30-day challenge. But I find that having something structured and something where you're accountable to other people really helps you keep on track. And, you know, we've got a great community over at Pretty Sketchy Club. People post often and you'll always get a response on your sketch, so that's always really nice. Otherwise, guys, thanks very much for watching this. I hope you will either do your own challenge or come and join us for our portrait challenge. There's loads of other videos there as well, enough to keep you occupied for probably about 2 years, because that's how many videos there are, 2 years worth over there. The other thing I just want to mention quickly is my book. So the Beginner's Guide to Urban Sketching. It is out in the US and Canada. It is coming out in the rest of the world really soon, so keep your eyes out. Yeah, I've seen photos of it in the bookstores in the States and in Canada, which is really exciting. So do consider checking that out. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.